What's going on, guys? ANS Quick Keys here. We have a Mercedes lock that I'm gonna Lishi. This is gonna be all keys lost. I have the EIS here that I'll program the key, and I'll do a video for that later. But I don't do a lot of Lishi videos when I do all keys lost, just because there's a lot of videos on YouTube and you can find them yourself. But the problem with the videos is you're not going to get a good idea of what you're doing unless you're actually having a feel for it. These are some of the Lishis that I have. These are the ones that I use on a daily basis. But what I mean is, you can watch a video on a Lishi all day, or you can watch 10 videos, 15 videos. That doesn't mean you're going to go to the log, get the Lishi, and you're going to be able to pick it. It's one of those things that you have to practice on and have a feel for it, and actually feel what the people are saying in the videos. That way you can know what they're talking about. Because if somebody's saying do light tension, heavy tension, that doesn't mean anything unless you're actually there with the Lishi in your hands and have the Lishi in the lock. I mean, it's a good platform to start off with, but these are just like test keys that I have. And what I mean by test keys is, when you Lishi a lock, you're gonna get certain numbers to decode it. Once you cut that key, you try it on the lock and you see if it works. If it doesn't work, that either means you decoded it incorrectly, or it could also be an issue with the lock. But if you know it's a working lock, and a lot of times it's not going to be a lock issue, it's going to be something that you decoded incorrectly. And it's one of those things that with practice you'll know exactly what you're feeling for. Or a lot of times too, you'll have in between depths. And what I mean by in between depths is, you see how there's numbers on the side that say 1 2 3 4 5. That's the depth of the cut. And what I mean by in between, let's just say you're in between 2 and 3. And it's one of those things that you'll learn depending how far it's down or how far it's up. It's either going to be a 2 or a 3. But yeah, it's just one of those things that you just got to practice. And there's no such thing as too much practice. But it's one of those things you got to practice and actually get a feel for it to know exactly what you're doing. That being said, I'm going to Lishi this lock. I'm not going to do a detailed video on how I'm doing this. Just because there's, like I said, there's a bunch of videos on YouTube. If you do want a detailed video, Board Lockpicker on YouTube, he's real good. And I recommend watching his videos. I've learned a lot from that guy, and I've asked him questions and he's answered them. But here we got our lock on the vise. Zoom in a little bit. As far as vices, this is a Lishi vise. I'm not saying you have to get this vise. You can just use a regular vise. But when you do put it on the vise, just make sure you're clamping it on the body and not actual turning piece. That's stopping you from turning it. First thing you want to do is lubricate the lock. I use Houdini. We're going to spray it. And like I said, this isn't going to be a how-to video. This is just going to be just quick, straight to the point. But for this particular lock, the odds are down, evens are up. I'm putting very light tension on the tension bar. This is your tension bar. And I'm just pretty much pushing it to where it's stopping and just holding it there. And just very lightly, I'm on 1 and it's bouncing. So that means I don't have to do anything. 3 is bouncing, 5 is bouncing, 7 is bouncing, 9 is bouncing. We'll do evens. 2 is bouncing, 4 is bouncing, 6 needs to get picked, 6 is bouncing, 8 needs to get picked, 8 is bouncing, 10 is bouncing, and it rotated a little bit. So we'll do this one again. 10 is bouncing, 8 bouncing, 6 needs to get picked. Let off on tension, 6. And I don't know if you can catch this on the video, but 6 is no longer bouncing and it's going all the way to the top. That means it's overpicked. Overpicked means the wafer just went over the shear line, and that's going to stop me from not being able to turn this lock. But just to confirm, we're just going to check them all. 2 needs to get picked. 2 is bouncing. 4 is bouncing. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and once again 6 is there. It's going all the way to the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let off on tension. You're going to hear the click. That's going to be the wafer falling. Sometimes just that one wafer will fall if that's the only thing that's stopping you. Sometimes they'll all fall. I couldn't tell you, and that's when it comes down to where you have to practice this. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to let off tension, and you're going to hear it fall. And I don't know if you heard that click. That was a wafer that fell. And as you can see now, 6 was the one binding. It was overpicked, meaning it was too high up, stopping it from turning. I let off a little tension. I don't know if you heard the click. The click was that wafer falling. Once that wafer fell in position and I was still holding tension on the lock, it pretty much fell to that shear line, letting me turn the lock. And I already cut the key. This is the key, and it works good. Like I said, Board Lock Picker, he does a real good detailed video on the Lishis and cutting the keys. I'm just trying to be straightforward with the basics. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. If you guys want to see a video of what inventory you should start off with, just let me know in the comments and I can do that. I remember when I first started, I struggled a lot just because I didn't have anybody to ask for help. And if you guys just ask questions, I'll answer them, no problem. That way you're just not spending money on stuff that you don't need, and that was one of the main issues that I had. But yeah, hopefully you like this video, like and subscribe, and yeah, y'all have a good rest of your day.